The world stage is constantly shifting, with numerous significant events unfolding daily. Today, we delve into a particularly complex issue affecting thousands of individuals across Asia. Why are certain nations essentially barred, practically blacklisted from individuals ever setting foot in the United States? This isn't merely about a handful of visa rejections scattered here and there. We are discussing a situation characterized by near-total visa denial modes. Imagine facing impenetrable borders, navigating endless bureaucratic hurdles, and confronting almost insurmountable odds for approval. Could your own country be on this restrictive list? Or perhaps even more concerning, is it included for reasons seldom brought into public discussion? From conflict zones and political upheaval to deeply ingrained distrust between nations, these specific places find themselves almost invisible on America's list of welcomed visitors. And here's a startling fact. Some of these very countries previously enjoyed robust ties with the United States until geopolitical tides turned dramatically. Prepare yourselves, because we are about to break down 10 Asian countries whose citizens almost never receive U.S. visas and explore the underlying reasons why. Stay with us as we unpack this complex situation, and we promise to share our conclusions at the very end of this video. Before we dive deeper, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the like button. Your support is incredibly important for helping us grow and continue bringing you these vital stories. They wait, sometimes for countless hours, standing in lines that snake around buildings. They clutch worn, faded documents, remnants of past lives and future aspirations, holding onto the thinnest thread of hope. But for those hailing from Afghanistan, the statistical reality is grim. The odds suggest they are unlikely ever to step onto U.S. soil. Since the Taliban regained control in 2021, the approval rates for visas have plummeted to practically zero. The United States government suspended the majority of its embassy functions in Kabul, leaving Afghan applicants in a dire predicament. Now, individuals seeking a U.S. visa are compelled to undertake arduous and often perilous journeys to other countries simply to submit their applications. Consider the immense challenge this poses, leaving behind everything familiar, navigating unfamiliar territories, and bearing significant financial burdens, all for a slim chance. And what awaits them? Rejection rates exceeding a staggering 90%. It forms a truly heartbreaking cycle of hope and disappointment. One might reasonably expect that translators and other personnel who directly assisted U.S. military forces would receive some form of preferential treatment, a fast track to safety. While some individuals do fall into this category, the reality is far from simple. Guess what? Even these individuals, who risk their lives alongside American troops, often encounter years of frustrating delays and bureaucratic entanglement. The country is now ensnared in a pervasive cycle of uncertainty, a limbo where futures hang precariously in the balance. Visas are effectively blocked. The established application process is fractured and unreliable, and the queue of people desperately seeking escape continues to lengthen relentlessly. Imagine the profound desperation of needing to flee for your very life, escaping persecution or imminent danger, only to be repeatedly told no, again and again. This is the harsh reality faced by countless Afghans, and tragically, the situation shows no signs of improving anytime soon. Please, remember to watch this video until the end, as we will be drawing important conclusions from these difficult realities. You likely anticipated this next entry. There exists a nation from which escape is nearly impossible, a place shrouded in secrecy and control. We are referring, of course, to North Korea. For its citizens, obtaining a U.S. visa is an aspiration bordering on science fiction. The United States hasn't maintained a functioning embassy within North Korea for decades, severing a crucial diplomatic and consular link. Even in the hypothetical scenario where a North Korean citizen manages the incredible feat of reaching a country that hosts a U.S. consulate, the probability of visa approval is vanishingly small, statistically less than 1%. The stark reality is that the vast majority of North Koreans are not even permitted by their own government to leave their nation's borders, let alone navigate the complex process of applying for a foreign visa. International travel is a privilege reserved for a select few, often those with strong ties to the ruling regime. And for those incredibly brave individuals who do manage to defect, often risking their lives in treacherous journeys. For instance, by crossing into China where they face the constant threat of repatriation, the path forward remains fraught with obstacles. Here lies the truly shocking element. Even defectors who have successfully made it out to relative safety frequently struggle immensely to find third countries willing or able to assist them in reuniting with family members already residing in the United States. The diplomatic wall surrounding North Korea isn't just high. It's fortified with layers of political tension, mutual suspicion, and a near-complete lack of formal communication channels. It transcends mere bureaucratic red tape. It embodies barbed wire, pervasive censorship, and absolute state control over the lives and movements of its populace. This complex web of restrictions and geopolitical realities explains why encountering someone holding a North Korean passport within the United States is an exceptionally rare occurrence. You might find it surprising to learn that merely a few decades ago, the landscape was vastly different. American tourists and exchange students were a common sight in the cities of Iran, actively shopping in vibrant bazaars, studying at universities, and immersing themselves in one of the most ancient and influential cultures on Earth. There was a period of significant cultural exchange and relatively open interaction. However, present-day Iran stands as one of the most challenging places for its citizens to secure approval for a U.S. visa. Why this dramatic shift? The reasons are complex, interwoven with political history, deep-seated mistrust, and formidable mountains of bureaucratic procedure. The pivotal moment came with the 1979 Islamic Revolution, which fundamentally altered Iran's relationship with the West. Following the revolution, diplomatic ties between Iran and the United States were severed, and even now, decades later, there remains no official U.S. embassy operating within Iran. This absence forces every Iranian seeking a U.S. visa, whether for tourism, education, business, or family reunification, to navigate the process through a third country, commonly nations like Turkey or the United Arab Emirates. This necessity inherently adds significant layers of expense, logistical challenges, increased risk associated with travel, and substantial delays to an already complex procedure. Compounding these difficulties is the fact that Iran consistently registers one of the highest U.S. visa refusal rates in Asia. Many perfectly qualified applicants, including promising students, accomplished scientists, and even close relatives of American citizens, find their applications denied, often without clear, specific explanations. It is not simply a matter of political disagreement. It's rooted in a tangled history, pervasive suspicion on both sides, and an intricate, often opaque, administrative system. The human cost is immense, impacting countless families separated by geography and policy, and stifling opportunities for education, collaboration, and personal connection. What was once envisioned as a potential bridge between two distinct cultures has, over time, transformed into a vast canyon of silence and separation. Now, let's consider Syria. Individuals diligently fill out the requisite forms, meticulously gather supporting documents, and strive to follow every stipulated rule in the application process. They navigate the complex requirements, hoping for a chance to travel, study, work, or reunite with loved ones. However, if you are applying from Syria, the chances are overwhelmingly high that you will not receive a U.S. visa, regardless of the merits of your case or the thoroughness of your application. Since the devastating civil war erupted in 2011, the situation for prospective Syrian travelers to the U.S. has deteriorated from challenging to nearly impossible. The ongoing conflict led to the closure of the U.S. Embassy in Damascus years ago, severing the primary point of consular access. Consequently, Syrian applicants are forced to undertake difficult and often dangerous journeys to neighboring countries simply to attend a visa interview, assuming they can even secure an appointment and the necessary permissions to travel. The U.S. visa approval rate for Syrians ranks among the absolute lowest globally. It makes little difference whether you are a student accepted to a prestigious university, a doctor seeking advanced training, or a family member desperately trying to reunite with relatives in the U.S. The outcome is frequently the same: visa denied. Many applicants are refugees fleeing unimaginable violence and persecution, pinning their hopes on asylum claims or emergency relocation programs. Yet, even these critical cases are subjected to intense, protracted scrutiny, and the overburdened system often results in crushing backlogs. Some individuals have tragically waited over 5 years for a decision that never materializes. Furthermore, travel bans implemented in past years added yet another formidable layer of restriction, making the already arduous process even more difficult. People with entirely legitimate reasons for travel, attending academic conferences, pursuing educational opportunities, visiting family, find themselves trapped in the crossfire of a diplomatic no man's land. Let's turn our attention to Yemen. Try to envision this scenario. Your home is engulfed in conflict. Access to basic necessities like clean water is a daily struggle, a luxury rather than a given, and the threat of falling bombs looms closer with each passing day. Amidst this turmoil, you summon the courage and resources to apply for a U.S. visa, clinging to the hope of reaching safety and stability. However, if you are applying from Yemen, that dream is almost certainly out of reach. The reality is stark. The U.S. visa approval rate for Yemeni citizens is shockingly low. Many applicants find their requests either ignored entirely or denied outright, a situation exacerbated since the civil war escalated dramatically in 2015. Why is the barrier so high? A primary reason is the closure of the U.S. Embassy in Sana'a, which shut its doors years ago due to the escalating conflict and has not reopened since. This forces Yemenis seeking U.S. visas to travel to third countries, such as Egypt or Djibouti, simply to submit their applications and attend interviews, assuming they can overcome the significant hurdles to even make such a journey safely. Yet even for those who manage this difficult first step, the path remains obstructed. Many applicants become ensnared in what is often termed administrative processing purgatory, a bureaucratic limbo where cases languish for months, sometimes years, without resolution. Others face slow processing times or find their cases abruptly and silently closed without any explanation. This is not merely an inconvenience, it is a devastating blow to those seeking family reunification. Here's what truly underscores the tragedy. Even Yemeni children and families attempting to reunite with loved ones already in the U.S. are frequently denied, despite meeting all the technical requirements. And consider this chilling fact. Some Yemenis who held valid U.S. visas have been turned away mid-travel, prevented from boarding flights or denied entry upon arrival due to sudden shifts in U.S. policy. Imagine the crushing disappointment. All the preparation, all the hope, extinguished at the airport gate. The visa wall is formidable for many, but for Yemen, it is practically impenetrable. A barrier built from conflict, bureaucratic breakdown, and shifting political sands. Consider the experience of an individual from Iraq. He may have risked his life working alongside American troops, serving as a vital translator, bridging cultural and linguistic divides, and meticulously following every rule and procedure. Yet, despite this loyalty and direct support for U.S. missions, if he is from Iraq, even that history does not guarantee approval for a U.S. visa. Years after the major conflict, and notwithstanding strong historical ties between the two nations at various points, Iraqi citizens continue to face some of the most stringent visa screening procedures anywhere in the world when applying for entry to the United States. You might logically assume that being an ally, or having directly assisted U.S. efforts, would provide some advantage in the visa process. But guess what? It frequently does not. Since the early 2000s, the application process for Iraqis has become exceptionally difficult. Background checks are notoriously extensive and painfully slow, often taking years to complete. Consequently, approval rates remain extremely low, particularly for individuals who lack established political or military connections. Even visas typically considered more straightforward, such as student and business visas, are incredibly rare and difficult to obtain for Iraqi nationals. Many applicants invest years waiting, spend thousands of dollars on application fees and associated travel, only to never receive a definitive response, their applications lost in bureaucratic limbo. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad operates under heightened security conditions, leading to frequent closures, rescheduled interviews often with little notice, and backlogs that seem to stretch endlessly into the future. This creates an environment where securing a visa appointment, let alone approval, becomes an almost impossible undertaking. hindering life-changing opportunities for education, work, and family connection. Here's the eye-opening reality. There are thousands of Iraqi Special Immigrant Visa, SIV, applicants, individuals specifically promised a path to the U.S. for their direct support, who are still waiting, some for over a decade, while their cases gather dust in the system. Some of these individuals are now in hiding within Iraq or neighboring countries, fearing for their lives due to their association with the U.S. Tragically, others have already lost family members to violence while waiting for the promised help that never arrived. Even Iraqi Americans often struggle to bring their own family members for visits due to these insurmountable hurdles. One minor misstep in the extensive paperwork, or an unforeseen shift in global policy, can reset the entire painstaking process back to zero, trapping applicants in a bewildering maze of uncertainty. You've secured the necessary grades for university admission. You've received a confirmed job offer from a U.S. company. You've even diligently paid the substantial application fee. But if your passport identifies you as a citizen of Pakistan, that still might not be sufficient to gain approval for a U.S. visa. Here's the startling reality. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Pakistani applicants attempt to enter the U.S., seeking education, employment opportunities, or simply to visit family members. Yet the rejection rate for these applications is sky-high. According to official U.S. State Department data, the refusal rate for B1, B2, tourist and business visas for Pakistan in recent years has consistently hovered around 70%, and sometimes climbs even higher. Statistically, this means more than 2 out of every 3 applications are turned down. So, what factors contribute to this difficult situation? Despite Pakistan having one of the largest diaspora populations residing within the United States, Pakistani applicants face multiple layers of additional screening, intense scrutiny, and significant processing delays. Even highly qualified students holding full scholarships to prestigious American universities have reported having their visas denied without a clear or specific reason being provided. Some applicants are asked to provide extraordinary proof that they do not intend to overstay their visa, a requirement imposed even when they possess round-trip tickets, substantial financial backing, and confirmed job offers awaiting their return to Pakistan. Here's the particularly frustrating part. Most visa rejections are issued without specific, actionable explanations. Applicants often receive a standard generic message citing Section 214(b) of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which broadly relates to failing to demonstrate non-immigrant intent. No detailed guidance is provided, no opportunity for appeal is offered, no chance to clarify misunderstandings or correct potential errors exists. It's essentially a closed door. Adding to the complexity, consular operations in major Pakistani cities like Karachi and Islamabad are frequently overwhelmed by the volume of applications. Interview appointments are limited, processing times are slow, and sudden shifts in U.S. policy or security protocols can lead to the cancellation of scheduled appointments with absolutely no advance notice. For many Pakistanis, the visa application process requires traveling to a different city, taking valuable time off work, and spending hundreds of dollars on travel and fees, only to potentially face a brief, perhaps 2-minute interview culminating in a denial. It's a harsh and often demoralizing reality that remains largely unacknowledged in broader discussions. You've waited patiently for months. You've meticulously prepared every document, ensuring everything is in perfect order. The paperwork is spotless, seemingly fulfilling every requirement. But if you are applying for a U.S. visa from Bangladesh, chances remain significantly high that you will not receive approval. Here's the stark, cold reality. In recent years, data indicates that more than 50% of all visa applications submitted by Bangladeshi citizens have been denied. This high refusal rate applies across various visa categories, including tourist visas, student visas, and even applications for family reunification. None of these categories appear immune from rejection. You might be surprised at how stringent the rules have become, affecting even those applicants with impeccable records, documented financial proof of stability, and clearly legitimate intentions for their travel. So why the persistently high denial rate for Bangladesh? U.S. consular posts in Dhaka frequently cite concerns about potential visa overstays as one of the primary reasons for refusal. This means that even a slight suspicion, however unfounded, That an applicant might not return to Bangladesh after their visa expires can be enough to trigger a denial. That suspicion often falls disproportionately harder on younger applicants, particularly men in their 20s and 30s, even when they demonstrate strong ties to their home country, such as family, property, or employment. Here's another shocking aspect. Many rejections are not based on any actual wrongdoing or ineligibility demonstrated by the applicant, but rather on a preemptive judgment about what they might do in the future. This presents an incredibly tough hurdle to overcome, especially considering the lack of a formal appeal system for most visa denials. There is often no opportunity to clarify, provide additional evidence, or contest the decision. Applicants are simply told no. The pressure doesn't end there. Consider the waiting times. The wait for a visa interview appointment alone can stretch beyond 400 days. Imagine waiting over a year, investing time and resources, only to potentially be told no in an interview lasting under 3 minutes. This is the brutal reality faced by thousands of Bangladeshis every single year. Some Bangladeshi students, accepted into American universities with prestigious full-ride scholarships, have had their visa applications denied just weeks before their scheduled flights, shattering their educational dreams. There's often no backup plan, just immense heartbreak and the frustration of a missed, life-altering opportunity. For many, that single visa denial can effectively derail years of dedicated preparation and hard work. Then consider the families. Parents hoping to witness a child's university graduation in the U.S., relatives eager to meet newborn grandchildren residing in America. These deeply personal and significant life events are often put on hold indefinitely, or prevented altogether, by the visa barrier. Many are left in tears outside the consulate, holding passports stamped refused, grappling with the implications of a decision often rendered without clear explanation. So, what conclusions can we draw from this exploration of the visa wall faced by citizens of these 10 Asian nations? We've journeyed from the conflict-ridden landscapes of Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, through the diplomatically isolated realms of North Korea and Iran, to nations like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Palestine, and Myanmar, each facing unique, yet often overlapping challenges in accessing the United States. The reasons are multifaceted, rarely reducible to a single factor. Geopolitical tensions, historical conflicts, ongoing civil unrest, strained diplomatic relations, stringent security protocols, bureaucratic inefficiencies, embassy closures, and pervasive concerns about visa overstays all contribute to the creation of these formidable barriers. It's crucial to understand that this is not merely about paperwork or following procedures correctly. For countless individuals, students with aspirations, professionals seeking opportunities, families yearning for reunification, refugees desperately seeking safety, the process is often opaque, unpredictable, and deeply frustrating. The human cost is immense. Lives are put on hold, opportunities are lost, families remain separated, and hope dwindles with each passing delay or unexplained rejection. The reality for applicants from these countries is often one of long waits, significant financial expenditure, perilous journeys to third countries for interviews, and ultimately, a high probability of denial, frequently without recourse or clear justification. The visa wall is not just a metaphor. It's a tangible reality built from layers of policy, politics, history, and suspicion, disproportionately impacting individuals based on their country of origin. While the specifics vary from nation to nation, the overarching theme is one of immense difficulty and often insurmountable odds. Thank you for joining us on our channel today, as we explored this complex and often overlooked issue. We encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Where are you watching from? Let us know. Your engagement helps keep these important conversations going.